This is not stable. This is experimental technology, and it might not work for every possible permutation of prompts you feed it. But you can play with it today. Here's the URL. I'm going to publish the URL in the description of this video. If you want to play with it, then go for it. What is it? Well, let's ask it a question. What is 2 plus 7? 9. You see, this is not the LLM answering me. It might be easy to believe that I'm just like prompting some AI here, but I'm actually not. This is a deterministic logic execution engine that generates the required code on demand based upon your natural language input. So it's basically a natural language API that takes natural language as input, then it generates the code required to answer your particular question, whatever that may be. Then it executes that code and returns the results back to the caller. Right. So if I now, for instance, ask this thing to scrape iniro.io and return the first 5 external hyperlinks, that is one thing I can do. Right. I don't allow for like creating new items or opening database connections or posting shit or manipulating the file system. Right. So if you try to do something that would be considered malicious towards my Magic Cloud server, there's no way in hell that the system's going to allow you to actually do that. So even though you're using natural language to generate code and the code is executing in my production environment, you still cannot execute malicious code, period. Why? Because every single function invocation is whitelisted. You see, if I go here now and I have a look at this guy, what it actually does, you will see down here is the actual invocation of my Hyperlambda that occurs after the Hyperlambda generator has generated Hyperlambda for me, right? And as you can see here, there are no slots here that actually changes math random. There are no slots here that actually changes the state of my server. So there's nothing you can do that, you know, destroys my server in any ways whatsoever. Worst case scenario, you can create an HTTP connection that lasts for like 3 minutes, you know, sucking up a socket connection for 3 minutes on my server, etc. But I didn't even whitelist while loops, so you cannot consecutively do it, right? And I'm restricting fairly, you know, only 2,500 tokens here, which becomes like 10,000 characters. So you can't even create long-lasting Hyperlambda scripts that, you know, the longest Hyperlambda script you can probably create with this would be like 3-4 minutes or something, at which point it's simply going to die off. And nothing in that Hyperlambda script is going to be capable of actually destroying my server in any ways whatsoever. So let's ask it a couple of other questions. Retrieve the sitemap from iniro.io and return all links that does not contain blog. Let's see what it comes back with. Now I want to have the sitemap links for everything that's actually an actual page in my system. If I now ask it that contains blog, I'm only going to get blog items back. So in such a regard, it's actually a beautiful thing to use as a general API to turn like the web into an API. If I wanted to now, for instance, scrape www.hubspot.com and return all paragraphs containing the word CRM. Hopefully this is going to work. And here you see they have 3 paragraphs on their web page that contains the word CRM apparently. Let's see what more we can do. Search DuckDuckGo for Thomas Hansen Hyperlambda. DuckDuckGo sometimes adds these CAPTCHA things, so it kind of like prohibits me from being capable of scraping them, but actually here it works. Here you can see the top links for Thomas Hansen Hyperlambda. Scrape iniro.io and return the HTML for all elements containing btn in their CSS class. Let's see if this works. Kind of like stressing it a little bit here, which is kind of like the purpose. And I need to emphasize this does not work for every possible question you have, right? Because I'm working on it. This is work in progress. What you're looking at now is like a pre-alpha, you know, showcase where I'm just like demonstrating the capabilities. But basically, I can turn an LLM into an API, right? On demand. So today is Saturday. What weekday was it 48 hours ago? So that should obviously be Wednesday, right? What weekday was it 2 days ago? It helps to rephrase your question if it refuses to do something that you know it should be able to do. Then it helps to rephrase your question. What will the weekday be 2 days from now? That's going to be Sunday, Monday. And I don't know why it can't do this now, but you know, I could debug it and figure it out, and etc. etc. Calculate 3 plus 1 multiplied by 5 minus 1. That's going to be 16, right? And as you can see, 16. What is today's date? Yet again, the LLM hasn't answered one single question I ever asked it to answer. What it did, it took my question, generated the required code required to answer my question, then executed the code and returned the result of my execution. So what does this do? Well, first of all, it allows us to build dynamic AI agents, because the Hyperlambda code that the generator is generating, I can persist it, right? And I can reuse it, and I can add it to my RAG database dynamically, which means in theory I could start out with a completely empty AI agent that has only one single tool being this, and then the AI agent over time as a meeting with its user would be capable of actually dynamically creating new tools on demand during its interaction sessions with the end user. And everything is based upon natural language. Have a nice day.